In coming days,
those who do not keep the commandments and observe the laws of God shall be burned at the time of his coming.
Are you a full tithe payer?
For that shall be a day of judgment, a day of sifting, a day of separating the good from the evil. I would venture a personal opinion that no event has occurred in all the history of the earth as dreadful as will be the day of the second coming, as fraught with the destructive forces of nature, as consequential for the nations of the earth, as terrible for the wicked, and as wonderful for the righteous.
All right, Child Faith. Travis Wayne Goodsell here. We'll try to get through as many of your comments, questions as we can. So 3 weeks ago, dear God, 2024, Book of Mormon, Come Follow Me Prophecy, lesson number 3. It's the Book of Mormon year, and the church ain't telling you the truth. So you're only going to get the truth from me, because even ex-FOMOs don't even know the truth. So Child Faith asks, what's the meaning of John 24:21? John only goes to 21. Is it 21:24? And they which were sent were of the Pharisees. I don't think that's what you're meaning. Don't know what to do with that one, because, well, maybe that's part of the video. Let's check and see if I say something in the video about John. What is the meaning of John? Oh, I don't have the... Because John has meaning in Hebrew. Oh, dove. Easy breezy cover girl. So yeah, Noah and the flood. A dove. John. John the Baptist. Flood of the waters to baptize. John. And a dove appears. John. Holy Ghost. John. Everything has meaning. Alrighty. 2024, Book of Mormon, Come Follow Me, lesson number 4. What is the Jesus star date? I did that video not too long ago. Went over it again for you. Because Jasmine, that was a Jasmine comment reply video. So yeah, Joseph Smith Sr. was the one who had to rewrite the 116 pages and put that in there to help us understand when the Exodus would be in the latter days. Lehi Exodus from Jerusalem, 600 years before the coming of Christ. Well, it's learning of the Jews, so it's not Jesus. So he's trying to tell us something else. And so it has to do with the sacrifice of Isaac in Utah on 8 April 4 CE, which is 20 years before the final day of the latter days from Revelation 19, 8 April 2024. And so the Exodus is 2020. And so we can confirm this. Did the Exodus events of Moses happen in 2020? Yep. Ta-da! Book of Mormon is so true. And Mormons don't believe. They draw near to the church with their lips, but their hearts are far from the founder and the Book of Mormon, the keystone. Jewish mysticism of Joseph Smith Sr. I kind of understand the whole rod thing. The confusing part was when you mentioned that's why Cowdrey, I'm assuming Cowdrey, because you put Chowders, had a rod. Yeah, Oliver Cowdery. And Joseph Smith Jr. had a hat and a rock. What do you mean by kids' games? Don't you have kids? Haven't you been a kid? Didn't you play games as a kid? Kids' games. They're not meant to make money. Ex-FOMOs criticized Joseph Smith for trying to be a money digger. He never got rich. He never found anything. They were just kids' games. He got arrested for glass looking as a kid, because the age of an adult was 21 back then. He was still a kid. And so, yeah, Joseph Smith Sr., the New Israelites of Vermont, was said to be a master rodsman, but he never made money off of it. You can't. It doesn't work for money. It's just a kid's game. And so, yes, it's well known that he was going around with his kids with the divining thing, the rock and a hat. That's where Joseph Smith got it from. And so, yeah, he was just having family home evening with his kids. And ex-FOMOs, the haters, are trying to claim that he therefore is a fraud and a con man, and the church isn't true. It's a wrong church. And so, yeah, Joseph Smith Sr. was never doing that for a job. That was Joseph as a kid. And so thus Oliver Cowdery. William Cowdery, his father, was also a part of the New Israelites of Vermont. Just kids' game. And so yes, when you have kids, if you don't have kids, you can teach them a whole bunch of fun stuff that'll seem like it's magic. You can get 2 coat hangers that are metal, get them into an L, and then stick them into your hand and just let it hang there. Don't grip it, just let it hang. And then you have them in the both, then you walk over your toilet. Now, down in Brazil, I guess the toilet spins backwards. But nonetheless, as you go over your toilet, the rods will automatically, you're not forcing them, they're just hanging there. They will cross when you're over a body of water. It's wild and cool. You can teach it to your kids, they'll think you're the coolest dad ever. And that's all that a divining rod is. It just doesn't work for metal. Kids games. At 2556 for let's see, 2024 Book of Mormon, Come Follow Me, Prophecy, Skip Jacob lesson. Yep. Church is going to skip Jacob for conference. That's the conference lesson, is Jacob, and they're skipping it. So I did it early for you. And this was a long time ago. And so, wait, really? When? Did he say it in general? It hasn't happened yet. Of course you missed it. Hasn't happened. Let's see what you're talking about. Excuse me.
Brought back polygamy.
Huh? Yeah. 2019. You've gone to the temple, haven't you? You not remember what you heard? Do you not listen? You're not seeing my pictures of it? I did a video clip of it too yesterday. You are supposed to practice polygamy now. 2019. Nelson has lowered the age. And so in case single Mormon women don't want you, you can dip it all the way down to 11 years old now. And so, yeah, this is a thing I do every conference. I do videos saying that Nelson's going to do this for conference. Oh! And then Mormons come out in mass. I never heard that. It never happened. Yes, it did. You weren't listening. I'm always right. And so, what have I got so far for this year? Is it that long ago? Lectures on Faith to be restored at LDS Church, April 2024 General Conference. Moroni's horn falls off Kirtland Temple prior to rededication, April 2024 General Conference. And April 2024 LDS General Conference theme, Don't Fear the Reaper. And so even though many of these are going to be low in numbers, once we get to conference, people are actually going to be typing in April 2024 LDS General Conference. And these videos will pull up in the recommended feed every single time. And YouTube can't figure out how to stop this other than to stop me. First millennial resurrection of the dead, M. Russell Ballard appears. Root stack, oops. Not conference. I thought that Mormons would have owned me on that one. Oh, it's froze. Camera froze. So, depending on how far back it froze, M. Russell Ballard resurrected from the dead, I was sure Mormons were going to own me on that one. Say, see, the church is true. Nope, not a single Mormon has. All aboard the LDS Latter Days Kool-Aid bus to LDS Church Kingdom Millennial Zion. That's conference weekend. There's Jasmine. There's another photo of Jasmine. Does Jasmine sleep in? It's 2 hours. It's 1 p.m., Jasmine. Where are you? You said you had yesterday and today off. You're going to flood me with emails. And I only got one because you were having a bad day yesterday. There's more Jasmine. See this? I do Jasmine comment reply videos when Jasmine comments. I can't do Jasmine comment reply videos if Jasmine doesn't comment. And so, Book of Revelation, chapter 19, sign in the heaven is solar eclipse on 8 April 2024, the day after conference weekend. And the Easter death threat, there are several of those. And there's the Mormon jailbait MILF, who's now going to prison. I guess she's already in prison now. LDS Church still announces second coming of Jesus Christ at April 2024 General Conference. That should pick up a little more because there's 944 views in 3 weeks. So expect that one to all of a sudden take off again, despite YouTube's algorithms. Millennial Administrative Structure Change for April 2024 LDS Church General Conference. 1.2K views, so that one definitely will be picked up further when conference gets nearer. Nearer my video to thee, nearer to thee. And there's Anya. I miss Anya. She was my Facebook buddy, and then Putin tore us apart. Every member of SCOTUS a Mormon church missionary, LDS Zion, 6 April 2024 General Conference. So, yeah, I've done quite a few. 12 for another first warning death threat. 302, what are these receipts for? LDS Church. Excuse me. President expected to offend remaining Mormons. Yeah, those aren't receipts. Those are articles of incorporation filed with the state of Utah. Heber J. Grant deceived Mormons into thinking that the church has always been in existence. It was never shut down by the United States of America. Oops! And not only that, that when he actually formed the church, brought it back from the dead, he turned Mormons into chattel. Mormons no longer had a voice in the church under Joseph Smith. And so, even though Brigham Young added Section 119 after Joseph's death to force Mormons to pay up, it's Heber J. Grant in 1923's Article of Incorporation that turned Mormons into official chattel. And so they don't have a say in the church anymore. And so under Brigham Young, Mormons had a say in the church, but you had to pay up, and there's death penalties. And so now under Heber J. Grant, they're not allowed to have the death penalty anymore. And so Mormons are just chattel. You have to pay the church to be Mormon. And so that's the subtle difference that Mormons just are pretending to be clueless on, not wanting to accept that the church is a criminal operation. And then you have Harold B. Lee, who came out, was in 1973, who now says that the church is going to shut down at some point in time, and describes what's going to happen to all of your money. It's not going to you. The church is going to take the money and run and destroy this church. And since 8 April 2024 is the last day of the latter days, and the day that shall burn as an oven is technically supposed to happen on or before that day. And this is therefore the last general conference. Church is going to take the money and run. That's why Nelson has been doing all sorts of business deals with enemies to America and all sorts of business cons to steal as much money as he can. That's why he says, Mormons, you don't have to pay a full tithing, just pay as much as you can. Because Mormons typically, if they can't pay the full tithing, they don't pay any at all. So Nelson, in order to get as much money as he can, has now changed it so that any amount of money will do. He wants as much money now. He's even suing his own insurance companies to get them to pay him. The church is all in to get as much money as they can. And why? Because 8 April 2024 is the last day of the latter days. And so if the day that shall burn as an oven doesn't happen, yeah, the church is just going to continue on to collect as much money as they can until one of their assassins actually does their job, having been paid the Judas prize. And so, yeah, that's what they're for. The church is going to flee, and Joseph Smith prophesied that that's what's going to happen. So if Nelson wants to prove Joseph Smith a false prophet, go right ahead and confess this church is false, Nelson. That'll show Joseph. LDS church president expected to offend remaining Mormons. When it comes to the war against Israel, I don't know where to get the right background information from. You can't trust other sources. You gotta go to the original information, the primary source documents. And so all you need to know is the origin of Jews. Jews are the religion, Jews are the culture, Israel is the nationality. So if you're talking about New York Jews, well, New York is the nationality, American. That's the whole thing. This is not a Hamas attack on Israel, other than the nation of Israel. It's an attack on the Jews. So you need to also know the origin of Islam. Because again, Islam is the religion, Muslim is the culture, and the nationality is where they are living. Gaza, West Bank, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Syria, Iran, Iraq. Those are the nationalities. And so when you have in America and around the world people who are protesting Israel defending themselves, that's all they're doing. They're going after Hamas. And everywhere they go after Hamas, you have Gazans who are interfering. Gazans who are stepping up to be the shields for Hamas. Israel is forced to go through the people to get to Hamas because Hamas are still holding hostages. They are not releasing the hostages. And so Israel cannot cease fire. But you see that all of these pro-Palestinian groups are not pro-Palestinian, they're pro-Islam. Hamas is Islam. They're pro-terrorist. These Gazans are being used in this holy war as the martyrs, specifically abandoning the kids as the parents are getting shot because Israelis are trying to get to Hamas and the parents are getting in the way and thus they die. And so all these kids are being orphaned. And the whole world is panicked. All these kids, they're starving to death. Oh no, we got to get the aid to them. They were purposely doing this to get the sympathy of the world to turn on Israel. All Israel is doing is fighting the enemy who wants to exterminate them. Islam has a second coming belief too, just like Christians. But Islam replaced the Christians who replaced the Jews. These guys are all terrorists. They are purposely hurting their own people to be martyrs to cause an all-world attack on Israel, because Islam also knows the Bible, as Christians know the Bible, that the whole world is going to turn on Israel. That's why they did it. This is it. It's not just it for Mormons, it's it for Islam, it's it for Christians. And only the Jews are going, well, there's certain prophecies that have to be fulfilled in order for this to be it. And so they're looking beyond the mark, not realizing what it is, but they're very well aware that this is what Christians and Islamists believe. And so, yes, Islam is deeply concerned. And so to have Biden betray Israel, demanding they cease fire, and then now we have Ramadan. And Israel is not stopping. They don't give a damn about Islam religion. They're not going to stop. Because Hamas isn't stopping. And when did Hamas attack? Oh, on that Jewish holiday. Everybody wants to forget the origins on purpose, to claim to be the victim, to get other people to beat up the other person. There are bad women who do this, who purposely pick a fight with a guy so that her boyfriend or husband would go and beat that guy up. Naughty, naughty. So that's all you got to know is your origins. And so when you listen to the news, you can go, okay, that's actual news. That is bias from ignorance, purposely leaving out the origin. So it's up to you to identify what press is telling you the truth and what press is giving you news versus what press is lying to you and trying to incite you to hate and violence against Israel. And so all of these pro-Islamists throughout the world and in the United States and in government, they're all terrorists. They know damn well this is their latter days, and they're purposely doing this to force an extermination event of the Jews. And so no, there are no innocent Islamist civilians or children. And they purposely don't tell the children. They grow them up in Islamic culture as sleeper cells. This is what I, again, saw when I watched last night The Reluctant Fundamentalist. Kiefer Sutherland is in it. But it's about a Pakistani who comes to America to live the American dream and rises up as a star until 9/11 happens. And then all of a sudden he's mistreated for being Islamist. And then turns against America, but not really. There's a twist at the end. But nonetheless, this is how Islamists are. They branch out from their nationality to other countries. And they use the excuse of these terrorist Islamic factions, Hamas, Hezbollah, ISIS, etc., Al-Qaeda, to justify getting asylum in the other countries around the world. And that's how they get into other countries, is to claim persecution and threats of violence because of these Islamic terrorist groups. But as you can see, nobody is really going after Hamas. They're all protecting Hamas. And so, yeah, it's all a fraud and a front to deceive the world into letting them into their country. And then they, in America, for example, they rose up into popularity and number and into positions of trust and government. And so we have the squad who have infiltrated our government and are now demanding policies to favor terrorism of Islam. They are progressives. And they're trying to overthrow the Democratic Party if the Democratic Party won't become progressive. And the new Young Turks with Anna Kasparian and Cenk Uygur, they have catered to their base, who are Islamists, and are now betraying America and betraying Islam, or Israel. They are anti-Semitic. They have to be in order to cater to their base. They have compromised their values and standards. They are not news anymore. They are pro-propaganda for Islamic terrorism. And it crushes my heart, because I loved watching Anna. I love watching them deal with actual locations in the United States that the national news will never touch. And you only have to know about it. You only find out about it by going to every single local news channel in America, and it's difficult to do, though you can do it with YouTube, but there's a lot. And so, yeah, the Young Turks were great until October 7th. And then they revealed who they really are. They are willing to cave when money and votes are concerned. They can be bought. And we now know what they can be bought for, what their price is. And it's sad. Because I used to, on my website that I used to have, I did a whole Anna Back in Black. Because every single day for about a month, Anna was wearing a different black outfit. And so I was doing Anna's Back in Black. And I think she even found out about it. But nonetheless, now I can't listen to them anymore. Just like on MSNBC, I can't listen to Joy Reid anymore. Even though she's Methodist, she has catered to the Islamic terrorists. She's anti-Semitic. October 7th revealed she is an anti-Semite. I have called for her termination of employment. MSNBC won't do it. And so I cannot listen to her show anymore, because everything that comes out of her mouth is hate. I used to say, okay, fine, you put her in instead of Ali Velshi, who deserves to have that time slot with the removal of Chris Matthews, was it? But, I'm fine with her for a while. I can see what they're doing. They want to have diversity with a black person rather than a person from India who went to Canada and is dual citizenship in America, who's more qualified and educated. But even Ali Velshi, he too is anti-Semitic. October 7th exposed the whole Islamic plot. They got in everywhere around the world. And so the UN even, and they've been exposed as helping Hamas with the attack on October 7th and the rapes. And yet people are still being threatened to keep paying the UNWRA or whatever so that the children can get their aid. This is abominable, what is going on. Oh, you can't dismantle our group. How are these children gonna be protected? Just pure evil. Using children as a shield. Hurting the children on purpose. Because where are the parents? They're dead because they were fighting with Hamas. Those parents, if they really were innocent and want nothing to do with this Islamic fundamentalism, they would have taken their kids and immediately run for the Egyptian border. The Jews gave them more than enough time to flee, and they chose not to. They knew that Israel was coming in, and they stayed to fight them. They are not innocent. During World War II, Europe, when Germany came in, they got the children out as fast as they could. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. That's where we got that book from. Those children were part of the exodus of the children to save the children's lives. And yet none of that is being done. Even aid groups, first aid and food and all other types of aid. Has anybody ever watched MASH with BJ and Honeycutt? Where was MASH? Where was the unit? Out of the war zone. You have helicopter pilots who have to go into the war zone to get the soldiers who have been wounded and get them out to the MASH unit. The theme song at the beginning of every show shows this very thing. The helicopter pilot went into the war zone and comes out with a person who's injured to the MASH unit, and the MASH unit doctors go up and get them. This isn't being done. The doctors go in to the war zone. That's stupid. I learned as a firefighter, you don't put your life at risk because you can't save anybody if you're dead. These doctors cannot save anybody if they're dead. Those who are trying to provide food cannot provide food if they're dead. You're not catching on yet? It's these simple things that you should go, wait a minute, I'm being lied to here. Because what's actually happening shouldn't be happening if they truly are innocent. It's just unforgivable what Islam is doing. And so yes, Islam have revealed that they've gotten sleeper cells all over the world. Because by teaching them the religion, when October 7th happened, everybody in the religion knew exactly what to do as a little switch goes off to become a Manchurian candidate. Whether it's the Denzel Washington reboot or the Frank Sinatra original from the book turned into movies. Both of which were good, but both had a different scenario of how to hypnotize the soldiers to be murderers. And so this is exactly what's being done to Mormons. Mormons are clueless that they're the enemy. Mormons are clueless that they hate people. All the Mormons who send me death threats and hate comments, they're clueless that This is what the church has done to them with the religion, with the false doctrine, the false information, through the hymns and the prayers and the conference talks and the misinterpretation of scriptures as Christian rather than Jewish. All of this is to turn Mormons into sleeper cells so that when the church is under attack, Mormons then, the Manchurian candidate switch is flipped and Mormons go off. That's why, if the federal government were not compromised by the church and actually did their job and came into Utah and locked every one of them bleepers in prison for their crimes, Mormons in Utah would stand up and defend them against the federal government, protecting the prophets from being criminally prosecuted for their crimes. You see this time and time again with lesser Mormons who get charged of crime. A trial of Mormon peers lets them go every single time. And only when you turn on the faith, like Ballard, Tim Ballard. Oops, M. Russell Ballard had an elder moment and forgot he supported Tim Ballard and denied he supported Tim Ballard. And so every single Mormon stepped up to attack Tim Ballard. And then all of a sudden, oh no, Tim Ballard likes sex. Tim Ballard was only using his company to make money. Whoa. Yeah, but so does everybody else here in Utah. They like sex, and they too are only doing their business to make money. And so yes, Sean Reyes is going to bite the big one. Maybe. Third in a row. And so yeah, the previous two attorney generals got away with it because Mormons let them get away with it. They're guilty as sin. So yeah, everybody does have an agenda and a narrative that they're pushing. You got to know the truth. That's how you see through their lies. Only thing I know, it's the plan exposed by Albert Pike. Good for you, you know about Albert Pike. Yep. And so the Church of the Devil, what do you think he's talking about? Which religion? Which religion has the symbol of Lucifer on the keystone of the doors of the Salt Lake Temple? He's talking about the church, Brigham. But I have another guy who said that Albert Pike had met with Brigham Young, but didn't come back with a reference. Need a reference. Because he also had suggested that Nelson was a part of the Skull and Bones at the University of Utah, but I couldn't establish the Skull and Bones at the University of Utah. And he didn't provide me with the reference, but he kept pushing it, and so finally I said, okay, I'll do a deeper dive to try to see if there's a Skull and Bones at the University of Utah, and then eventually I found it, and sure enough, I've also found that Nelson was a part of that, and Holland too, I guess. I think. Or was Holland just the one at Harvard? My social memory is fuzzy on this one, but yeah. And so now the thumbnail picture that I use has U of U over the Skull and Bones over the Salt Lake Temple. For that reason, because I found it. Nelson is pure evil. But you gotta find the source. Can't just say it. And how it started on October 7th, 2023. Exactly 1,290 days after Russell Marion Nelson said to cease all the Oh, no. You're brand new to this. You've got to purge everything Christian from your mind. Everything Christian. Do not try to merge the two together. You're still brand new at this. Purge first. Then fill your computer brain with all things Jewish understanding. And so, no. And so now you wanted to ask about the prophecy of Daniel 9 and 12. It's for another time. But no, we're already at 33 minutes. I'll see if we can find some other stuff here. Let's try this one. Will Mormons still choose Lucifer after knowing the truth? Yes. He needs a thorough explanation of the slide at 6:56. Not me. I gave you the scripture references. What explanation more do you need? See, in Doctrine and Covenants, section 27, verse 5, there is an error. Joseph Smith, in his Joseph Smith History Second Vision account, has Nephi, who came to visit him. He is correcting Doctrine and Covenants 27, verse 5, which says Moroni. But Willard Richards, who inserted Jesus in the name of the church, also changed Nephi to Moroni, using that as his justification to put in Jesus. And so no, Willard Richards is wrong. Joseph Smith is right. He is correcting 27:5. It's Nephi who has the keys of Ezekiel 37. The stick of Judah and stick of Joseph. I've got those keys. That's why I'm letting you know in this slide. As I've got the brass plates. They're in my hands at the Bountiful Temple, right next door to Irene and Nelson. And so 3 Nephi 23, 6-14 is when Jesus comes to Nephi at the Bountiful Temple and says, where are the records of Samuel the Lamanite? Oh, that's right, I have the other video to add to this. Oh, crap. and so Nephi goes, oops, and then writes them. Here they are. And so, yes, they're all in the learning of the Jews. None of it is literal history, remember? You're purging all of that out of your brain. And so thus, this is supposed to help you with, I'm him, it's me, I've done it. I've got the keys, I've got the gifts. And any Mormon who knows anything about their scripture and religion would know and understand what I'm doing here. And so yes, I was there at the temple with Rita. Rita took my picture. And then she went off and married some other guy. I think. Maybe. I don't know. The guy really wasn't into her, or he was pretending not to be. I mean, he's not ugly by any means. He's kind of very attractive. She reminded me of Leanne Murdoch. And her dad was the mission president of my son, who had to send me the letter saying, your son isn't writing to you anymore because apparently your family who left you and abandoned you didn't want you to know. He went home early. Crushed my heart. Because I was getting letters from him regularly and then it stopped. This was while I was imprisoned by the church in their secret Nazi concentration camp here in Utah for 6 years of my life. And then all of a sudden, I'm not getting a letter from my son. And so yes, Rita's dad, who was the mission president, said, I'm sorry to have to tell you, I was told not to tell you. I've got nothing nice to say about that first ex. She was pure evil. But, yeah. Every picture I use has symbol meaning for it. And if I've got a scripture, you need to go to the scripture. Mormons just let it go on by and don't even bother to care to know what it means. Everything I do has meaning. Even the theme song in the description below, Star Wars, Duel of Fates, Epic Version, Remastered, V2. And why are you showing the YouTube? You suck. So, yeah, all Mormons who believe and follow me, you need to be telling other Mormons. Their lives are in danger. That's what the Book of Mormon is for. That's what Joseph Smith is doing. He's warning. And those who have been warned need to warn your Mormon neighbor. We can't have an exclusive club of those who follow me. We need to warn the Mormons. Mormon lives are in danger by this church. Spread the word. And yes, you're going to be hated. Mormons are going to want to murder you too. The question is, are you going to cave and betray? Or are you going to stand up and say, no, cut it out. Your life is in danger. So, with that we will end, because there's another letter to Mazzini. Isn't the war in the name of religion the way to accomplish their pain? Yeah, that's what you're saying. It's a holy war in Israel. Nobody wants to acknowledge it, and everybody wants to blame Israel. Tell them to stop. So, alrighty.